What's up guys, this is Kevin over here at MAPerformance. Probably talked to a couple of you guys on the phones. Charlie is tied up in some meetings, so Tiny and I got the Type R out here. We're gonna be doing some work on it today. He's in the background right now doing the front pipe as well as the downpipe. We have some other things coming for it as well. So a lot of you guys might be wondering, why would I want to do a front pipe? Why would I want to do a down pipe? What's wrong with the stock one? Well, like most turbocharged vehicles these days, the stock exhaust, especially the downpipe, front pipe, is going to be fairly restrictive. So anytime you can really open that up, more air in equals more air out, you're going to be able to make more power as well as increase the sound without doing an exhaust if you didn't want to, or if you just wanted to increase the exhaust note of your aftermarket catback that you already have on the car. When we get to those exhaust clips, we do have our prototype catback installed on the vehicle. So when you guys hear that, just take note, it is going to be a PRL front pipe, PRL downpipe with our prototype exhaust on there. So super excited to show you guys that. We'll have some more video content of that coming up as well. All right guys, so on the Type R here, very similar to the SI platform that obviously we know, we love. You've seen what we've been able to do with it. The downpipe, front pipe setup on here, a little different and kind of exclusive to the Civic platforms. Instead of having just one piece that's coming straight back down from the turbo and going to the catback portion, it's actually split up into two different sections. All right guys, we decided to go with PRL for our front pipe, downpipe, actually intake as well as the inlet pipe. Reason being, obviously we've had some friendly competition in the past with our Civic Si. They make some great products as well as having an ease of installation, something that we value in our products and something that they do as well. So with that said, we're gonna go take a look at what Tiny's doing and show some of that ease of installation. All right, just a quick note, guys. This probably looks a little bit different than the one that you may be taking off of your vehicle. That's because we've had our prototype design for our front pipe and downpipe on the vehicle. So that's what we'll be taking off, and that's why it looks like this.
So that's all of ours are like that. So if you want to do our full exhaust system, you can utilize a V-band connection from the mid pipe to the front pipe instead of having a connection here, it's all the way up there. Or like what we're doing now, if you want to use anyone else's front pipe with our exhaust, you use this piece here that connects to the V-band connection at the end of our mid pipe, and then it'll connect to any factory 3-bolt style. So it uses the same location that makes it interchangeable with basically any other front pipe on the market. So cool feature that we've got there.
So just to clarify guys, again, our prototype catback on the car already. So you'll see this piece with this V-band and it's coming up to that 3-bolt flange here. So traditionally, if you have the stock exhaust or you have another aftermarket on, it isn't gonna have this, it's just gonna go right up to this 3-bolt, and that's actually where that front pipe is gonna connect to.
Loosely run these in to hold this front pipe in place. I'll take them back off obviously when we pull the downpipe out, but just ran these in here, keep them in place, keep my location good, so then the rest of the connections go up okay.
So if I'm just standing here like this, like, that one friend that just kind of always just is there. Hey, I got you this.
You're Charlie right now.
Yeah, I get to be Charlie right now. I like Charlie's job here. So I'm sure everybody's wondering, why are we doing it this way? Why are we doing the front pipe first and not like the intake or vice versa?
So we kind of planned this out in a way that made sense going forward, where we wouldn't be doing any like back work really. So starting with the front pipe, then doing the down pipe, then doing the inlet pipe, and then the intake makes the most sense because you'll end up where at the end pretty easily, just like the order of operations of things. You'll start underneath the car, get all the connections done down here, then move up top, and all the things that you have to take apart to get to the other things. It all makes sense the way it goes together. And something we were kind of talking about too, all of these parts work together, so it makes sense to do them all together. So, by putting an upgraded inlet system in it and doing an upgraded exhaust, you get more air in, more air out, and that's the end goal here. So
that's the key.
It all works together, installation and just like the order of operations of how you want to do it.
Technician's mind right there, avoiding as much rework as possible.
This part, you got to take these brackets out. I tell you what, Because if you don't, you're gonna have a bad time.
Are you Australian?
Oh, my Australian. It might be Australian, might be a little bit English. Tell you what, we get a little mixture in there. What am I going for? They have these support brackets that locate the downpipe. So there's these brackets that mount to the block, and they locate the flange for the downpipe and give it a little bit of support so it's not rocking around on the turbo too much. And I suppose that would also support the turbo. It all works together. It's all a big family. So got those off, and now we're gonna go top side, disconnect the O2 sensors, and start working on getting the downpipe off. So now I'm gonna take some parts off the intake to give me a little bit more room to get at the downpipe. So I'm gonna take this middle section off, put it to the side. Obviously we're gonna get to that a little bit later here in another episode. So I'm gonna pull that off quick. It's just a 5 mil on some clamps, or 5.5 mil on some clamps. And then we'll be getting the downpipe off, and then we'll be getting the new one on. So now we're going to disconnect the O2 sensors. The factory car, I found you can get the downpipe off leaving these on. Other cars, sometimes it's a little bit easier if you take the sensors out of the downpipe, but with the factory downpipe and ours and the PRL one, they should all go in with the sensors in, no problem. So that way it's a little bit easier to tighten them up when they're out of the car. You have a pretty straight shot in. So we're just going to disconnect these from the harness, and then we'll be good to start loosening it up and take it out. It's just 4 bolts after that. So here we go.
All right, guys, so I've heard some of you guys talking about the intake install and actually getting this piece off. So just a heads up, there actually is a clip that's on here. Kyle, how'd you go about getting that off?
So when we took this off the first time, we thought about some good ways to, when we're writing these instructions for you guys, to make it really easy to get that clamp off of there. Now, but if you look here, there's still some factory ones where there isn't actually really a head on these worm clamps. And so what I did is just take a regular angle grinder with a cutting disc on it, and I cut my own flat into it so that a flathead screwdriver would work, and it came on and off like a breeze, like it should if it was just a normal worm clamp. So that's how we're going to recommend to you guys to get those off, is to cut a little groove into there. If you can't do that, you can always cut them off and replace them with a standard style one, but I found that to be the best way to do it, provided you have the tools necessary to do it. Now it's out, so now it's a matter of raising the car back up, sliding it out, and swapping O2 sensors and putting the new one in. So now we're gonna do that.
All right, guys, for any of you that are doing this at home in your garage on jack stands, you do need to go out the bottom. Nice thing is once you get it loosened up top, you can kind of slide it sideways. So either make sure you have enough clearance underneath the car before you start, or just know you're gonna have to jack it up when that time comes to actually get it pulled out and underneath the car. Wow, there really is just a little guy on there, huh?
Do that, and then hook it up from the top, and then come back down and tighten up all these connections, and then we'll be done underneath. It's kind of one of those things where it's a little bit tedious. You kind of have to go up and down. It's actually not as tedious if you're on the floor, because then you can just stand up, but not as nice on your back. Yeah, one of those up and down games that's kind of unavoidable when you have so many connections up top and on bottom. So bring it back down one more time, or back down and then up one more time, and then we'll be done with the downpipe.
All right, guys, so the one that Tiny just pulled off obviously looks a little bit different than the one that you might have. That one probably looks something like this. Again, what you saw was gonna be our prototype downpipe. So as you can see, stock downpipe, fairly restrictive, actually very restrictive. And you can see where just having a bigger diameter and a higher flowing cat is gonna help to get more power out of the car.
Don't forget to reinstall your O2 sensors, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time. Clip those back in. Make sure you reuse these factory locations for hanging the harness out of the way. You don't want that falling into your exhaust and doing an old heckin' melt. Another cool thing about the PRL's downpipe for this, it works with the factory heat shield. We're opting to not use it at this moment, just because we're going to be doing some testing and stuff. So it's off for right now, but the option for you to put that factory heat shield that you took off back on is there, using all the factory hardware and all the factory mounting points. So that's another cool little feature that I like to point out. And now we're going to tighten up the connections underneath, and then we'll be done with the downpipe install.
All right guys, so back underneath the car here, we did get the front pipe and downpipe fully installed here. Just a quick note on here, you might have to put some kind of elbow grease into it. We had to get a pry bar under here just to make sure things lined up. If you have issues with that, don't be afraid to unbolt a couple of things. I know it's annoying, but it'll make your life easier when it comes to trying to get these bolts in. So that kind of finishes up for today's episode. Stick with us as going forward, we're gonna be doing an inlet pipe as well as a full intake. And additionally, we're gonna be doing a full dyno test with all of these parts on. So make sure you come back to see how that ends up. All right guys, and as always, if you're interested in any of these parts or you have any questions, check the links down below, visit our site, give us a call here. You can ask for Kevin, I'll answer the phone and help you out.
I've been on the west side, cause that's where I stay. I just made 1,000, blew it in your face. I've been going in, I'ma close the case.